The victim may be poor, but he's noble and honest. There's absolutely no reason to doubt him.
This was muted, wasn't it? Oops, I'm sorry. Hello. I'm just gonna... No, whatever. It's... Ignore me! We're doing the final appeal!
Well, let's see. There's no reason for him to lie. And besides, he's a fine man.
Also, I'm really convinced all the jurors believe him because he's British!
Then on the other hand, you have the Japanese defendant, and he's got that mustache and that hunched back. He's suspicious.
I don't have any proof that that lanky fellow is a thieving bastard either. Not yet, anyway.
Oh, honestly, sod this. Let's just get this over with already or I'll be in trouble.
At my age, a little 3-hour gap doesn't bother me a bit.
The feeling when all the jurors vote guilty unanimously never fails to weigh heavily on me. It sounds as though the jurors were struck by Petency-sama's nobility and honesty. More like they were bewitched by his strange movements, if you ask me, and that he's British. Unfortunately, Souseki-sama's words seem to have completely missed their mark. Anyway, I'll give it a shot. I just have to remember that I've already managed to change their minds once for Souseki-san's sake. If you'd like, I could refresh your memory in regards to how the final appeal works. Huh? You're still not quite used to English court procedures after all. Oh, he's done 2 final appeals by this point, right? She's right. And Souseki-san's fate is resting on this. Also, the Souseki case that happened technically happened like a couple days ago, so it's still fresh. Technically, you know, if we didn't split this into 2 games. Maybe I should listen closely to what she has to say. What should I do? I could listen to Susato-san's explanation on how the final appeal works. I've got it. We're good. Thank you, Susato-san. But I've already brought our cases back from the dead with the final appeal a few times. I think it's probably best if we just try to get through this as quickly as possible. That makes sense. You're absolutely right. Feel free to ask me if you're not sure about anything. I'll do everything I can to help. Oh, Susato. The jurors' own words will be the key here. Just have to find contradictions between them and pit the contradicting statements against each other. Now then, defense, you may begin your final appeal. Yes, Your Honor. Thank you for taking a breather, Naruhodō, because I too needed a breather. Okay, let's do this. They must be poor but noble liars somewhere in this huge imperial city though, right?
Naturally, I'm sure there are. Your client, for example.
No, Souseki-san isn't a liar.
But the only thing the victim consumed that night was the Japanese man's tea. When you consider it alongside the testimony of the young man with the large chin who works for the gas company, it's obvious.
Well, that was unexpectedly logical.
Allow me to make this abundantly clear. I'm an English gentleman. If that Shakespeare lover were to turn out to be a loathsome liar, I promise I will gladly change my vote. Isn't that right, my fellow English gentlemen?
Well, I suppose. I doubt that'll happen, though.
Huh? What was that? I'm a rather elderly gentleman, so I didn't quite hear you.
God damn it! I don't care one way or the other, let's just get this over with!
So, just how many of them ended up being gentlemen? Understood. All I ask is that you remember your promise when the time comes. thing at the end. Not yet. What do you mean, a thieving bastard?
It's quite a troubling problem for us as a company. Even if we know that one of our customers is a thief, without definitive proof, we can't accuse them, or we risk being sued.
Pardon me, but what sort of...
My husband is Herb Altamont, the president of Altamont Gas.
Oh. Oh. Mr. Meat-a-Man is also from that company, isn't he?
What? You're the president's wife?
Gas is a shining beacon of hope in the dawning new century. Therefore, using it correctly is important. Isn't that right, East End Branch? Boy.
That's right! Use it clean and proper! Ultimate Gas is the best in the world!
Thanks, dude! I suppose that solves the mystery of that bow. Guess it was a fervent appeal to the company president's wife. So then, does that mean that the reason Meaterman-san is performing surveillance on Petency-san's room is...
That East End lot have found some means of stealing gas. So when we find reason to be suspicious of someone, we assign someone to watch them and do a thorough investigation.
So then, Petency-san was...
I can't say this publicly, but he's a grimy, gas-stealing, rubbishy bastard!
Oh! That umbrella! She's the Hornet. No, well, no. Hornets don't have that design. She's still a bee. The queen bee. I'm not sure you could have stated that any more clearly than you just did, Mrs. President. Open eyes, cannot hear. One ears, cannot see. Please ignore that incredibly rude comment you just heard. My angelic ears pay little mind to anything other than what I want to hear.
I may not have proof now, but rest assured, I will find some. And when that time comes, they'll be scraping bits of you off the pavement after a gas explosion, courtesy of our company.
So, Petency-san is a gas thief. Mrs. Four, would you mind adding those words to your claim?
Yes, certainly. The bit about the gas explosion, correct?
No, I meant the part a little before that.
All right, then.
This changes things.
He may be playing the victim, but he's actually a filthy gas thief.
Alright, time to pit some people here. Let's pit him with... well, they're Juror 1, there we go. There's an obvious contradiction between those two claims.
Contradiction? In whose testimonies?
A word, please. Juror 1.
Certainly. What is it?
Perhaps you heard what the company president's wife, Juror 4, just said. The man you claim to be poor, but noble and honest, is actually a gas-stealing, thieving bastard, apparently.
But she doesn't have any proof. I heard her say that too.
Yes, that's true, for now. But... I do have a basis for my claim.
What?
Yes. Now that you've already uncovered this much, I suppose I can have my company boy there testify about it.
Understood! In the name of the Ultimate!
Juror 1, I hope you remember what you said earlier. You'd change your vote if it came out that Petency-san is a liar. I believe that was your promise.
Yes, you're right. An English gentleman doesn't go back on his word. Isn't that right, fellow English gentlemen?
Hey? Well, I suppose not. Now that we know he's a liar, I'd like to think it over a little more.
Well, to be honest, I missed more than half of what was just said. So this might be a fun chance to listen to what everyone has to say one more time.
This grandpa, bless him.
Not so fast, you lot! This isn't good! I need this to be over as quickly as possible!
In that case, I'll change my vote instead.
William Petency. We jurors wish to know who you really are.
I love the juror banters. That makes 4 votes for not guilty. Which makes this a victory for us. Order! Order! Though I can scarcely believe this turn of events, the results of the final appeal is that the jurors' decisions have been altered. 2 vote guilty and 4 vote not guilty. Therefore, at this juncture, the votes are no longer unanimous. And the court must order the trial to continue. What a pathetic state of affairs. William Petency. It appears that the jurors feel that they cannot trust you, the victim. These motions make me think of Simon from Ace Attorney Investigations. It appears that the jurors feel that whoops, I'm reading Brooke's line again. You gods will give us some faults to make us men. I, Petency, swear before heaven and again before the earth. The words from this large-chinned gentleman's mouth are naught but gas. They blaze brilliantly for a moment, but we cannot see them, and they serve no purpose but to stink. What'd you just say? Oh my god. Do you mean to say that you deny the accusation that you are a gas thief? I certainly do, Your Honor. Allow me to state once more right now. I am pure, magnificent, and lovely. An honest man without peer. An angel. Damn you! Just because we don't have proof don't mean you're allowed to be all schmarmy. But Petency-san, you aren't pure, magnificent, nor lovely, and were in fact a liar without peer. That would naturally mean that your testimony cannot be trusted. Petency. The court will now voice its thoughts. Currently, there is no one but the defendant who could have committed the crime. And all the testimony we've heard thus far supports the defendant as the true culprit. In other words, it would be incredibly easy for us to hand down a verdict right now. But, however, as long as the jurors harbor doubts towards this witness, the court has no choice but to continue the trial. I assure the court that this is a waste of time. This gas business has nothing to do with the case at hand. Juror 4.
Yes?
Just now, you said the following about the gas theft. That you had no concrete proof, but you did have grounds for your claim.
Yes, I certainly did. Isn't that right, East End Branch boy?
Yes, madam. Ultimate Gas doesn't lie. Very well.
In that case, we'll be needing your testimony about the suspicion of William Petency's gas theft. Yes, of course. In the name of Ultimate,
If I may, Your Honor.
Yes, Juror 4?
If that boy is going to be charged with providing a testimony that our company can be confident in, please allow me to take the stand as well, in order to supervise.
Oh! Oh, I've been waiting for this. Please, please, please!
Literal worker bee there.
Very well. The court is willing to make special provisions.
You have my thanks, Your Honor.
This is what I've been waiting to hear. Madam President's heated testimony.
He is so charmed by her.
Now then, the court will hear your testimony regarding Ultimate Gas investigation of improper gas use.
Are you prepared, boy?
Yes, madam. We'll reveal to everyone that Ultimate's gas is the best in the world.
What do you think that was about, Susato-san? That's a working man for you. Working man, indeed. This is cool! A juror is at the well, we've had this before. Why is it juror 4? We had Mrs. Garrideb at the stand too last time. Ultimate Gas's investigation.
I'm the investigator for that area, so it's my job to go around and collect the money from the meters. If you put a 3-pence coin in the meter, you can get about 2 hours worth of gas.
Incidentally, there's never been so much as a single coin in Petency's room's meter. There's no sign that the meter's been tampered with, and the only one with a key to it is the investigator.
He's using gas like mad! If that ain't theft, I don't know what is!
He drank his wine. I beg your indulgence for the rudeness in partaking of the Lord's chalice in the middle of this incredibly boring testimony.
What do you mean?
Did the Japanese man slip poison to the lanky has-been actor, or did he not? That's the matter we're meant to be debating, and yet what are we doing? It seems as far removed from the matter at hand as the Great British Empire is from Japan.
But this is a vital piece of evidence.
He's so mad. Have it your way.
Mansik-sama seems to be fuming.
Well, he probably is. An attempted poisoning and an unproven gas theft incident. It's true, at a glance, they appear to have nothing in common, but the truth always makes itself known from the most unexpected places. We have to start by ascertaining what kind of person this man really is. I think we have time to do this testimony and then we'll be it for this one. So you go around and enter each room to collect the coins then.
That's right. Basically, I gotta show up while the resident is there and ask to be allowed in to collect money.
Which means you visited Souseki-san and Petency-san's room, right?
There's always surprisingly little money in the meters of the boarders in that house. Buggered if I know how they managed to get through a London winter.
I wouldn't be surprised if Souseki-sama uses most of his gas money on books. Then he probably burns the ones he's done reading to warm up.
Please testify about the gas meter, that witness. Well, the way you use it is pretty self-explanatory.
Are those sort of gas meters installed in rooms all over London?
It's a new type of meter developed by Ultimate Gas. Therefore, we've installed them in the rooms of our customers.
2 hours of use for 3 pence. That means you'd have to put in about 3 coins for a whole night's worth of gas, right?
It's a little more if you want to use the lamps and the stove at the same time, though.
Come to think of it, Souseki-san's room didn't have one, did it? A fireplace.
There are some who only use their stoves and employ candles for lighting.
That's right. I remember seeing some candles in Souseki-sama's room. So, how exactly are the coins collected from the meters?
Us investigators go around to the houses that have a contract with us every 3 days.
Anyway, developing those meters cost quite a sum. But we no longer have to worry about scoundrels who use gas without paying.
I guess it's only natural, since they'd have to pay up front.
Yes, that should be the case.
By the way, when did all of this start?
It's been weeks! That git's been stealing gas the whole time! And you've checked the meter in Mr. Petency's room?
Certainly. The first thing we did was take it off the wall and have a look at it.
And apparently, doing so revealed nothing.
Yes, that's correct. So I immediately ordered that a new meter be developed. One with an unbreakable lock. We call it the Petency Special.
Why do I get the feeling that it costs more to develop that than what they were losing on him?
And yet, the meter still remained empty. That damn tricky devil!
I'll never forget how humiliated we were. When I found not a single coin in his meter, I let out a "huh?" before I could stop myself. And he was just standing there with this smarmy. Please look on his face.
Right. Also, he's pulling on his scarf. Does he get, like, pulled by the president or something like that? Is that why he's doing it?
I took the meter out of his room and brought it back to the company with me. But I couldn't find any traces of it having been pried open or nothing. Since then, me pay's been docked 5 shillings a day.
That sounds like a life or death problem, in more ways than one. Incidentally, what happened to that meter?
Nothing. I've got it with me right now.
Huh?
Here she is.
You've been carrying that thing around with you?
Perhaps we ought to borrow it just to be safe.
Gas meter. If you put in a coin, you can use some gas. This model was developed especially for Petency-san and sealed with a heavy-duty lock. They're right. As far as I can tell at a glance, there doesn't seem to be any eye-catching issues on it. Now then, continue your testimony. Your testimony that's as empty as that gas meter, that is. Let us examine this ourselves first. This is a pretty sturdy lock. On top of that, it's sealed with beeswax. Looks like even Holmes-sama would be found out if you tried to tamper with it. Honestly, Holmes-sama would never do something so... Her sentence trailed off at the end like mist. Regardless, this is for storing coins, so I can understand their caution, but... It seems a little too neurotic, doesn't it? That hole always been there? Huh? Is something wrong? Here, if you look closely, there's a small hole. You're right. Good catch. The hole's a little jagged around the edges. Must have been done by an amateur. So then, does that mean Petency-sama secretly made this hole? Probably. It doesn't look like the gas company people have noticed it. How can you not notice this hole? This hole seems to penetrate all the way to the inside. But I can't imagine you'd be able to fit a coin through this hole. Ah, that's true. But I can't help feeling like it's important. Maybe not a coin, but something else. Gas meter. If you put a coin in, you can use some gas. There's a sturdy lock on it, but there's a little hole in the bottom. Why does Petency have so much soap in his lodgings? Mrs. Altamont, this meter bears a clear sign of having been tampered with.
What?
That's ridiculous! I checked it so many times! How'd you miss the hole, buddy? There's not a single scratch on that shitty box. That I don't know about. In that case, what about the little hole in the bottom of this meter? A hole?
You're right. There's a little hole. Right there. There certainly wasn't anything like this in the other meters.
In other words, Petency-san made this himself. Does that seem a reasonable assumption?
Yes, I agree. But for what purpose?
Oh, like this. Couldn't fit a coin through it, no matter how many you made. Mrs. Altamont, there's something I'd like to ask you about this meter.
What might that be?
There's a certain function I'd like more information about, and that would be how to disassemble the meter, how it distinguishes coins. The second option, how it distinguishes coins. How does this meter distinguish coins?
What do you mean?
For example, you couldn't get any gas if you were to put in a 1-pence coin, right?
Oh, well, I suppose not.
I just wondered how it knows when you put in a 3-pence coin.
Ah, so that's what you meant. The meter is able to accurately measure a coin's size, shape, and thickness. A 3-pence coin is 2 centimeters. Any other coin wouldn't be able to fit.
I see. Sounds like it's well made. The witness will add that information to her testimony.
Certainly.
Alright, let's look at this soap again. So again, why does Petency have so much soap? Now this indent makes a lot of sense why it's there. Look at this soap. There's a round depression here. Its circumference is just about 2 centimeters. A 2-centimeter circumference? Could it be? As I recall, this soap was found at the scene of the crime. Yes, there were 2 of them lined up outside the window, and we borrowed one. If memory serves, when we saw this depression, there was something like a red metal stuck inside. That's what I remembered. But now I don't see it anywhere. When could it have disappeared? Oh no! Maybe it melted. Soap from Petency-san's room. There's a round depression in one side that's about 2 centimeters in circumference.
There's no way he could have fooled our meter. It can detect the size and weight of a 3-pence coin.
Okay, I'm sorry to prove this wrong to you, Miss Altamont, but... Allow me to confirm one last thing. If one were to use something of exactly the right size and thickness, the meter would determine that it was a 3-pence coin. Is that correct?
Indeed, it is.
Oddly enough, when we investigated the crime scene, we found a certain object that was the same size and shape as a 3-pence coin.
The same as a 3-pence coin? What was it?
It was this.
Ridiculous! That's just soap!
I'm not sure what angle you'd have to look at it for it to look like a 3-pence coin.
It looks like I'm going to have to point it out more precisely. This is the part of the soap that matters. The important part is on the back of the soap.
Ah! There's a round depression in this soap.
And the size of the depression is approximately 2 centimeters. It's just about the right size for it to have been made by pressing a 3-pence coin into it.
Oh! Does someone have a 3-pence coin on them? Come now, step right up, lend us a 3-pence coin.
The way he's talking sounds an awful... Whoops, that's Susato. The way he's talking sounds an awful lot like a highwayman.
Now, we take this coin that a member of the gallery kindly lent us and put it in a depression in the soap. It's perfect!
Just as I thought, this is an obvious clue having to do with the gas theft incident. Yo! There's the objection theme! We haven't heard it now! We haven't heard it till now!
How is that possible?
In other words, your claim goes something like this. This grimy soap has something to do with the gas theft. That's right. This impression was obviously made by a 3-pence coin.
Indeed, if one were to press a 3-pence coin into some low-quality soap, it would be incredibly easy to make a mold like this one.
Then, if you was to pour, say, melted wax into that mold, I reckon you could make a counterfeit coin up in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail. Now, everything is finally coming together. All the tricks Petency-san used to commit gas theft. It might even run deeper than that. This might open up even more new possibilities, which we will look into in the next video because we are out of time, unfortunately. Sorry, guys, but thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys then.